Oh my goodness. All right,
Goes
cool.
well with
So,
Mr. P.
so finance, growth, and DK, ne? So, Magdalene, this topic in a label sequence and series nyana, ne? So number patterns also play out, but in a very specialized way, ne? But pay attention and ask questions. I will really encourage that you ask questions because you're a grade earlier from starting this particular topic, and also because it's finance, you might learn a thing or two about how money works, not from an accounting perspective per se, but you learn things about making projections for your investments or savings, or if you have to pay loan, how much interest you want to pay and over how long. Things like car purchases, things like how interest rates work, as well as things like how depreciation on things like assets work. Because in finance, this is a big thing, especially. So I guess this is the realm of your actuarial scientists, etc. Right, where they have to work out how much in terms of a rand or dollar value, or any currency value really, assets would depreciate or interest is gained on a loan that you have to pay back, or interest that your savings account or investment account would gain over a certain amount of time after you made the investment. So this is what the topic is about. Please engage, be engaged, ask questions, ask many questions. You must ask. You know that video of that boy? You must ask. You must ask. Don't be shy. You must ask, ne? Or should I put on our video so that you can see us? Yeah, you must ask. The guy was like, you must ask.
All you do is that you must ask.
You must ask.
You don't ask, you ask.
You must ask. All right, so simple and compound interest. I'm noticing here it says revision. So I just want to ask, check with you, Magdalene. Have you ever come across simple and compound interest in your math so far?
Yeah, last year.
Last year in grade 10. Wonderful. So interest. That is fantastic. What do you understand about interest? You can just say the first thing that comes to mind regarding what interest means. So just share what you think that means. Even you, Tiama, you can share with us.
From what I think about interest, I think is the amount of money they might charge you in form of percentage.
Money charged in form of percentage?
Yes.
Okay, we'll look at that. In the form
of percentage.
Of a percentage.
Yes.
Okay, Magdalene, what do you think?
Is she on mute?
Understanding about interest.
Yeah, what do you understand by interest? Yes.
I think another way when I think you give okay, did the example.
You can also make an example to illustrate your thought process. It's fine.
Okay. Let's for example, another way when I got one like let's say I had mamo to 100 rand.
Okay.
So what 100 rand then yeah, we're only 150 then given an interest 50 rand. I think so.
Oh, so extra money on the money that's paid back after you issued a loan.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I understood you correctly, ne? That's okay. So extra money. So we'll put extra in inverted commas. Ne? 6-9. Extra money earned on the money that is returned from a loan. Okay, I think your answers are both kind of correct. or correct in some way, shape, or form. I don't want to say they are wrong incompletely or they're not wrong or whatever. Because interest is defined in financial terms as a fee paid for the use of borrowed money or money earned on money saved. So, and it's also a percentage of the money that is either borrowed or lent. So that's the definition we have from the Mind the Gap learning guide, right? So, Siamo, yes, you did touch upon money charged in the form of a percentage, but not necessarily specific as to whether it's borrowed or saved, etc. So I think if you add that to your definition, it'll enhance your explanation of the concept. And Magdalene, yes, spot on. Money that's borrowed and then it's a fee that's paid on top of that. So your answer is right on the money, so to speak. It's right on the money.
That's a bomb. That's a bomb.
Right. So now there is simple interest. Simple interest. And simple interest is the interest on the initial sum of money. Ne? So it's interest on initial sum of money. Ne? And then let's say it's interest that's earned on a savings or investment account and you earn it over a certain time frame. Ne? So it'll be, in this case, each year you receive or are charged, or you get charged the same amount of interest. Ne? All right, so let's do a quick example to illustrate that we get the point. So if we have a 6% interest on per year, 6% per annum. So per annum is per year, ne? So yearly. That is just I think it's probably a Latin word, but this part here, annum, refers to year, ne? Hence there is annually. Anniversary.
Oh.
Annually.
I see.
Anniversary. You see, so that's where the words come from. Remember, English is not our mother's tongue, so so some of these words.
Look.
Next time you must put off your mic. You must put on your mic, sorry, and then laugh out loud so we can hear you, lol. Yes.
So, and your emojis must change the color.
You must change the color of the emojis.
Mr. Fizz emojis. And they finished me. That
I'm
dark
a
skin
brown.
comes out.
I'm a brown skinned man. I'm a brown skinned man. I'm a brown skinned human. How? So anyway, so per annum or per year, so 6% interest per year on 100 rands. So our currency in South Africa is Zuid-Afrikaanse rand. So ZAR. The Z stands for Zaid.
I didn't know that. I wondered already. What does that Z stand for? Is it Zimbabwean currency or something?
No, it's from Zaid.
Who's that?
I don't know, but probably the people who came up with how South Africa should be republicanized type of thing. But yeah, so that's what ZAR stands for. So if you charge 6% interest per year on 100 rands, ne? Means that it implies that if you borrow 100 rands for a year, you owe that 100 rands and 6 rands. So in total, you owe 106 rand. So that's what the simple interest means.
I see.
So that means you owe 100, which is borrowed,
There we go, finally.
and plus 6 rands, ne? Which is interest, ne? And they give a total of 106 rands, which is the total amount. So which is principal plus interest, ne? So that's what that means, right? Which means over 2 years, then the total would be 112 bucks. All right? Principal, the capital expense.
Wait, you said over 2 years it'll be 112 bucks.
Yes, because in year 1, the interest is 6 rands. And again in year 2, the interest is another 6 rand, because every year the interest on the principal amount, on the initial amount that you borrowed, on the 100 rands you borrowed, is 6%. And 6% of 100 is 6.
So,
Okay.
in year 1, it's just 6%. In the next year,
It's another
it's
6%.
another 6. We don't plus it, so it's gonna be 6 times 2.
We are plussing it. It's just because now it's happened twice, it's times 2.
Okay.
Yeah. Remember, multiplication is like repeated addition. Just as division is like repeated subtraction. If you think about them weirdly like that. Yeah. So what that means is, in the first year, on the principal amount, you pay back 106, but over 2 years, if you borrow that 100 rands and you borrow it for 2 years, then you'll pay interest of 2 times the 6%, which is 12 rands, and you add it on to them. So every year that 6% is interest charged on your account.
I see.
Yeah, so you charge 6% every year on your account. So the more you spend time not paying back that money, then every year you'll accumulate another 6 rand, another 6 rand, another 6 rand, another 6 rand. So if you do that for 10 years straight, not paying the first 100 rands, then you take the money that you took, which was 100 rand, you're going to pay back 160 bucks. So don't owe people.
Hey.
Always pay back your man. Pay back the man. Pay back the man. Any questions so far, Magdalene?
No.
No questions. Okay, wonderful. So another thing we should learn from this is that micro lenders and hire purchase agreements often work on a simple interest at a monthly or at a yearly interest rate. All right. So another thing, like the percentage increase or decrease in populations, for example, how many like the number of learners in, say, all high schools in South Africa, or the number of employed or even unemployed people in South Africa, or the number of cars that are bought firsthand in a country, or the number of, let's say, wild animals. How many lions are there in the wild, or how many springbok are remaining? So you can also use the same calculations, simple interest, to calculate or estimate rather population sizes, right? So we can use the simple interest calculation on population sizes. So that's just another application. So knowing pure maths allows you to access so many different fields of learning. There's life sciences, there's e-commerce, there's commerce, there's you name it. Yeah, probably marketing and sales. I mean, if you're gonna look at car sales and you're doing that, that's obviously marketing and sales.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, and I'm not saying this to dispel the notion that you don't need pure maths to do marketing. I mean, you probably don't, but like, I mean, it would help to know some math if you're gonna do the numbers behind it.
Even being a doctor,
Hmm?
even being a doctor, like, I wonder what do certain subjects help you with when you want to be a doctor?
Like which subjects?
What are you gonna do with geography when you're a doctor? Put a rock in a person and call him geomahitrim? Oh my god.
Maybe if there's an outbreak of a disease and you know where it comes from, maybe understanding what the geographical features like, and I'm just speculating here, but like maybe if you know what some of the things that occur naturally in that specific geographic location could have something to do with a disease outbreak, that knowledge could be useful.
I see.
Yeah.
And Spady?
Spady. If you're a doctor and here's a fun fact. When I was studying at a university in KwaZulu Natal, everyone who was doing medicine at the medical school had to learn basic isiZulu because there was a big chance that you would not be able to communicate in English, which is the language you are taught medicine in, with someone who is from, say, a rural area in the province. So that's one of the reasons languages are taught in school. And you'd have to learn them if you are a specialist. And if you're a doctor, obviously you have to learn how to communicate with people. I mean, you have to tell someone, you have this illness and this is how it's going to affect you. And this is how you get treated. So sometimes they don't know English. But if you understand how to articulate that in an indigenous language, then you have an advantage. And this can be anywhere in the world. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, but then most of the cases, I thought the world's population revolved around English, about 80%.
Look, a lot of people speak English globally, granted, but there's still a lot of people in places where English just doesn't reach because even the products, the lifestyle, the living standards or interests, when you communicate them in English, they just don't get to the people.
I see.
Yeah, they just don't get to the people. So
it's just the mentality of how they see English.
We can debate that another time. So let's look at compound interest. So with compound interest, it is also interest earned on a principal amount P, right?
Mm-hmm. Wow, Mr. P.
Thank you. On a principal amount P. So I suppose it's called principal because just like your school's principal, they are the first person anyone from outside the school will contact, not you or your classmates or the educators.
Why would they directly contact me like, hello, we want Tiago, then put him on the phone?
So yeah, each year, the previous year's final amount becomes the new principal amount.
How?
We're gonna get to that, but let's just think about that statement. For each year, the previous year's final amount becomes the new principal amount, right? So every year, the previous year's final amount becomes the new year's new year's principal amount. What does that mean? It means that if this year we are borrowing 100 rands, so it's 2024, we borrow 100, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's say it gains, or rather, let's look at it this way. All right, so this means the interest is calculated. So the interest is calculated on the principal and the interest from the previous year. So that means a compound interest rather of 6% per annum. So a compound interest of 6% per annum, right?
Mm-hmm.
On let's say we're looking at two different $100, right? I chose the simple interest route and I invested my $100 in a simple interest thing. Or I borrowed the money and they charge me a simple interest. Between you and Siamo, y'all borrow $100 and it's charged compound interest per annum. So now we're gonna look at the compound interest. So what the compound interest would mean is that we borrow the 100 for 2 years, then it's 106 in the first year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then in year 1, the final amount is 100 plus 6%, which is 6 rands, right? So it's 106 rands. Now in the second year, in year 2, we owe, the final amount would be, is 106 plus 6% of 106. So that means 6% of 106. We're going to need to multiply that 106 by 6%. Right? So 0.06 times 106, it gives us
6.36.
6 rand 36. Ne? All right, so it's compounded. That's where the compound comes from.
What's the meaning of compound?
That's a good question. Define compound. Maybe Merriam-Webster will chip in. You know Merriam-Webster dictionary? Okay. Compound is a transitive verb meaning to form or make by combining different elements, ingredients, or parts.
So,
or to put together as elements, ingredients, or parts in order to form a whole, to combine, mix, or unite. Or it can also mean to modify or change by combination with some other thing or part, or to mingle with something else. To compose, to constitute, to settle amicably, or to adjust by agreement, to compromise, to discharge from obligation upon the terms different from those which were stipulated. So that might be closer to the financial definition. To accept of a consideration for forbearing to prosecute. Such compounding can be, that sounds like a legal definition.
This is for compromise.
Yeah.
The legal definition is for compromise.
Compromise, yes. Okay, that sounds like a legal thing. So let's see, Merriam-Webster dictionary.
Something formed by union of elements or parts.
Yes. So, in the case of compound interest, it's different interest on different amounts. All right. So here is to pay interest on both the accrued interest and the principal.
Accrued interest and principal interest are two different things, so you were right.
Yes. So, Magdalene, ne? So here, to compound, the definition would be, so to compound is to pay interest on both accrued and principal. And principal,
Interest.
I guess amounts.
Oh, okay.
Ne? And again, something formed by union of elements or parts. So the principal, accrued, and interest of
Combined.
6. Now that's combined, and then we're gonna. So that's the interest on the principal, and then we're gonna compound it with the interest on the accrued, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this becomes accrued, and then we take interest on that. We add interest on that. So that's the long and short of it, compound interest, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in the first year, we would owe 106. In the second year, we would owe 106 plus 636, which is 112.36, right? Now, the difference between simple and compound interest is as follows in terms of their formulae. Ne?
Mm-hmm.
So, formulae. Like it's written formulae, but we call it formulae. Again, English never loved us brownies. But it's not our mother's tongue, so we'll just use it because it has to be used. It's the medium of instruction, so let's respect its rules. It's not our mother's tongue, but we must respect its rules, yes.
As Mr. M once said, respect for authority is imbued into the African soul.
Yes, definitely. Right? But yes, so simple interest would look like A, which is the final amount or accrued amount. Oh yes, next slide please. Tango. So simple interest would be the accrued amount equals the product of the principal amount times 1 plus the number of years times the interest rate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas for compound interest, it would be the accrued amount equals the product of the principal amount times 1 plus the interest to the power of the number of years, right?
Mm-hmm.
So A is final amount, and the same is true for this equation. P, not for Mr. P, is for principal amount.
But not for Mr. P.
It's for principal amount. Yes, I'm not the principal. Okay, maybe at Mr. P, private Math and Science Tutor, I'm the principal and also the teacher. And also the admin. And also the finance.
A is the final amount, right?
Yes.
So if they give you a value in a question and they say look for this value, that value that you're looking for is not the final value.
It will depend on the question. It will depend on the question. For example, you might be given a final amount and a principal amount and a duration of, whatever the transaction is, and you'd have to find what the interest rate is. Because you can find that out because the rest of manipulation on these equations, whether it's a simple interest or compound interest, I know you like the word manipulation, that's why you but that's the whole point of math, is to learn how to manipulate sums to our advantage using the correct mathematical procedure.
I see.
Right?
Okay.
But you'd be asked to investigate one or more factors in a transaction, financial transaction, by using simple math. That means by manipulating equations, right?
Yeah, here's the question I was going for. It says...
Okay, we'll get to that. Let's finish
I
here.
just want to... Okay, you look at it real quick and then tell me if this is A or P.
Okay, we will look at that. We'll
want
look
to
at
be
that. Just
able
mark
to-
it. Just mark it. Yeah, we'll just mark it so that we're gonna work with it. Yeah? Right. I is the interest rate. I is the interest rate. And finally, N is the number of years. Number of I didn't write number. So number of years. Ne? So these are the equations for both simple and compound interest. Alright. Okay. So we're gonna look at a couple of examples. And these are, I guess, they're also in a sense exam type questions. And I believe both in grade 10, 11 and 12.
Yes.
Yeah, so if we borrow, I just don't like the focus on borrowing. Like, how are we always gonna borrow? What about, am I not gonna save the money that I'm given as pocket money and invest it? I want to calculate the interest on that, but maybe we'll see sums like that. But anyway, let's say we borrow 300 at 9% yearly simple interest. Simple interest. How much will we owe after 7 years?
Let me try to solve this real quick.
We don't know that, So that means we must find the final amount at the end of a 7-year period. Or what do you think, Magdalene?
Huh?
Okay, if we are borrowing 300 now and it is charged a 9% yearly simple interest.
Yearly.
Yearly, yeah, per annum. How much will we owe after 7 years? What do you think they're asking us? Are they asking us for the interest rate? Are they asking us for the principal amount? Are they asking us for the a number of years? Which one are they asking for? From those. So the question is that we are borrowing 300, and then the interest on it per year is 9%.
Alright.
Yes. And it's a simple interest.
For 70
After 7 years, how much will we owe? So what are they asking? Are they asking for A, which is the final amount, P, the principal amount, I, the interest rate, or N, the number of years? Which one are they asking for?
I think
A.
They're asking for A.
I believe.
A, okay. It makes sense, right? Because it is the amount we will get at the end of a 7-year period, which is a final amount. Yeah. So we must find final amount A, which equals P into the formula for simple interest is 1, the number 1, plus the number of years times the interest rate. Yeah?
I compare.
Okay, so let's solve for that variable. Do we have P, the principal amount?
Yes.
Okay, we do. Which one is it? How much is it?
300.
It's $300. Magdalene, do you agree? Hey, Magdalene. The principal amount, is it 300? Do you agree?
Yeah.
You agree? Okay, so we're all in agreement. I also think it's 300. I also agree it's 300. And then the number of years is how many years?
The number of years is 7.
7. Okay, excellent.
Our N is 7.
And then our interest rate is 9%, yeah?
Yes.
But we need to convert that to
0.9.
0.9.
0.009.
0.09. And what's the answer?
The answer is 315.75.
How did you work that out? Run us through how you punched that into your calculator.
Oh, I punched it in my calculator by saying 300, open bracket. After saying open bracket, I said 1 plus open bracket again, 7, close the bracket, then I opened another bracket. Automatically, I set my calculator to see two brackets close together to be multiplication.
Okay.
So now that it sees that, I simply went to my calculator and punched it in. So I didn't say division, it didn't say monthly, so it's just then close the bracket, close the other bracket. Oh,
how much is it?
489.
Okay.
Oh, now I know where this 300 came from.
Where does that 300 come from?
I did this. So I went to the interest rate, and since I heard you say yearly, I know that a year contains 12 months. I divided that interest rate by 12 months.
Oh, okay. I would suggest avoid that for now.
Okay.
Because we are not yet doing problems where the annual interest rate is compounded monthly or weekly or daily or whatever.
Oh.
Because when we get to that part, then if it is an annual interest rate of 6% compounded monthly, for example,
yes,
then you'll have to divide that and
by
compound
12.
it every month.
Oh.
You get it?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, you can also do the same computation quarterly, half yearly, etc. But you'd have to take into account what the initial annual interest rate is, rather, and then compound it at the term that is specified. So for now, we're dealing with years. So they give us years, we use years. We don't divide it or multiply it by anything.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's just a straightforward one. Yeah. But shout out for your enthusiasm, because at least you're thinking about those types of problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, so shout out for your enthusiasm. All right? So then we get 489. So in other words, that is 189 rands more than 300 bucks that was initially taken out as a loan.
So the 189 is what, his profit from the loan?
That's what Machonisa is going to make from you for owing him 7 years.
He's going to make 189 from me.
Yes.
Wow.
I agree you borrowed the money. So now let's say we borrow the money from Machonis. Now for 7 years, maybe because of the high unemployment rate in Mozambique,
it's going to be more.
You can't get job. So now you owe machonisa for 7 years. And maybe it's just a nice machonisa. He's not sending a guy with the
Big
paying
arms.
of peke. The guy with paying of peke to come and collect.
To come and collect your TV, your bed, your sofa, your stove.
Or maybe you don't even have those in the house. So he's like, what am I gonna take here? Your underpants?
That will be sad.
So
I'd say,
so Machonisa is like, you know what? Let me be human and just maybe you'll find a breakthrough after 7 years. And then 7 years happens and you finally get 500. And you're like, Machonisa, I'm here to pay you back. And he calculates simple interest on the calculator there. And he finds, now you pay me 489 from the 300.
Yeah.
And you calculate, you're like, I thought I was still gonna pay 400, 300, but now I'm paying almost 400. So now you're left with just over $100. So, it's just tough in some countries, eh?
Very.
It's just tough. So, yeah. So, anyway, hopefully this is not our fate. Maybe we can manifest better fate. So, let's hope we manifest different fate and we are actually blessed. So, yes. However, let's look at the same problem if it were compound interest, right? Same 300 is borrowed at a 9% compound interest this time, eh? And we must find what's owed after 7 years. Right? So we will use the compound interest formula. So again, the interest rate is still the same. It's just compounded annually. That's one.
Annually is one.
Annually meaning every year. So because it's compounded annually, remember it forms an exponent outside of the 1 plus the interest rate. Yeah, so because it forms an exponent, it really goes to show how important exponents are. Eh?
Yes.
Yeah, it shows how important exponents are. So then the final amount will equal the principal amount times 1 plus the interest rate all to the power n. This is 300. 1 plus 0.09, which is our interest rate, all to the power 7. And that answer gives us 548.41 if we round off to the nearest cent. So, consider the scenario of the guy or girl, we don't know which gender they are really. Just a hypothetical person, né?
Yeah.
Who was just so unfortunate for 7 years. They owed Machonisa for 300 and for 7 years they couldn't pay him back. And Machonisa was like, ow, banga, no, let me not take, your last belongings. So now the Machonisa for some reason is charging compound interest. And they come across 500, they're still owing $48. It can be bad sometimes.
It's cruel.
But hopefully, let's say this was an investment account, and maybe, that would be something else, That would be something else. But anyway, the question is, between these two, which would be the better option?
Simple interest. Simple interest would be the
better option.
In my point of view.
In your point of view, why?
Well, I would say it's better because after 7 years, the money that I'll owe him is not gonna be that much from the money I borrowed.
If it is simple interest.
Yes, I borrowed from him 300 and now I have to pay him 489, which means technically I owe him $189, along with the one that I had before.
That you owed
Yes.
them. Yeah.
You give me a calculator, I gotta give you the calculator back, but it cannot go alone. I also give you a pen.
Okay.
That's how simple interest I see it. So it's better because I'm looking at compound interest, and after 7 years, you now have to give him 549. Yee.
So it's calculator plus pen plus what? Plus mug.
Plus a mug. See, it's no longer what I
No
owe
longer what
you
you owe
and-
plus interest.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. I like the analogy. But yeah, so the better option would be the one where you have to pay back less.
Yes.
Fair enough. Okay. The next problem seems like it's fun, and this is where I like to think investments. Because you need to invest, guys. We need to invest. That's how we grow our money. Yeah? We need to invest so our money can grow.
I'll rather invest my money in buildings.
In buildings?
Yes.
Okay. Buildings take quite a bit of money to grow. And I think you're going to love this problem, Tiamu, because it features that thing where the interest is compounded. It's annual interest, but it's compounded monthly. So then we take that into account.
Oh, what I did wrong before.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So, in this example, we invest 1,570 at 11%, that is compounded monthly. Right? So then we asked, how much will it be? Will the investment be after 7 years? So this guy today is very lucky, Shem. In another lifetime, he's very lucky. Got a chance to invest 1,570. So in a parallel universe, he's got more money to invest. He doesn't have to ask Mashunisa for mine, which is great, guys. He's got blessings in this parallel universe. So I like this parallel universe. He's got money. It speaks of money, like money that can grow.
That doesn't grow on tree, but grows.
It doesn't grow on tree, but it grows. It expands. That's good. We must speak abundance into existence. So, the solution... okay, first let me ask. The money is invested and the interest rate of 11% is compounded monthly. Which formula will we use? Will we use simple interest or compound interest formula here? Let's just start there.
I think we'll use the compound interest because they say compounded now.
Oh, so there's a dead giveaway there.
Yeah.
Compounded monthly. Magdalene, what do you think?
Compound formula.
Compound, ne? Alright, so let's go with that. A equals P into 1 plus I to power N. Okay. So we are looking for A, ne? But let's start with what we know. We know the principal amount is 1,570. We know the interest rate. Nope. Interest rate is 11%, yeah? So 11 divided by 100, again. Wait.
What's wrong? You've
Right.
been waiting.
So compounded monthly means the interest is calculated at the end of every month. So we must convert the years to months. Convert the years to months. So let's start there. Ne?
Convert the years into months.
Yes, so we have
that's
7
simple.
years. How do we convert it to months?
Okay, in a year we have 12 months.
Yes.
1 year is made up of 12 months. So 7 months, 7 years would be approximately 84 months.
Okay, so 84 months. So in other words, convert years to months. Okay, I like that. And then the interest rate. Now 11% per year is compounded monthly. So that means we must divide the interest rate by 12 months. All right?
Yes.
So we've got 11 and it's over 100. We must divide it by 12. 12.
You remind me of my friend who does that now. I don't know where he learns these things.
So what's 0.11 divided by 12?
0.11.
Yes, that's what we must calculate. 0.11 divided by 12.
It's 11 divided
point.
by. Oh, you got that.
0.0091666666666666. Okay. Then we can substitute now into our formula, ne? Okay, so we'll have A equals 1570 into 1 plus 0.11 over 12 to power 84.
Yes.
Now, what does that equal?
3,378.96. I rounded it off the 96.
Oh, okay, great. This plus 1 to power 84, yeah? And then we times it by 1570 is equals to 3378.96.
I learned how to round that thing now from you.
Ah, well done. well done. So I may not be the brightest person in the planet. I do consider myself reasonably
Bright.
Able to use my mental faculties. Yes. Let's be modest. Reasonably able to use my mental faculties, yes. But not above me or everyone on earth. No. That's arrogant. But I'm glad you learned something from my modest approach to applying my mind. So thank you for acknowledging that. It's very kind of you to say that. Thank you. So that means the interest earned in total would be 3,378.96 minus 1570. That equals
1,800. 1808.96.
Listen properly. Listen properly.
Hey. I felt like Julius Smiley at that point.
No, let's not mention names, guys. Let's not mention names. This is my brand here. Ne? My brand, I don't want it to be... no. But we can always make innuendo jokes.
Yes.
Because as a South African, fellow South Africans, we understand where some of these moments of laughter come from. But no mentioning of names, ne?
Okay.
But we can just make the reference, and if you get it, you get it. If you don't get it, forget about it. Forget about it. All right, so here's a couple of things to note, ne? All right, so interest per annum compounded, ne? Right. There is monthly. There is quarterly. How long is a quarter? Period of a quarter in a year?
Let me see.
Magdalene, would you like to take a guess?
A quarter, isn't like a quarter like half? A quarter means half, so
Quarter is 1/4.
1/4.
Yes.
Oh, I see.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm confused.
You're confused.
Yeah,
Magdalene?
It doesn't click.
How long do you think a quarter in a year is?
Oh, I think 3 months.
3 months, 100%. It's like a term. It's like a term in school.
I just
So
found out.
yeah. So
The first
also
quarter, the second quarter, the third quarter, the fourth quarter.
also when you watch financial news, there'll be quarterly, results from a mining company's financial performance or a bank's financial performance, a quarterly report. When you read things like reports by banks, for example, they will publish quarterly reports or annual reports or semi-annual reports, right? So monthly would be every month at the end, you'd get your bank statement, for example. Then if you invest money in a savings pocket or an investment pocket or whatever, you get a quarterly report. So every 3 months, there'll be a report. So monthly, the interest, that is interest per annum compounded monthly, would mean that interest rate divided by 12. Quarterly would mean that interest rate divided by 4. And semi-annually would mean that interest rate divided by 2. Right? So this is the interest rate. Let's make this a table. How about that? Let's make this a table.
Now, wouldn't that be nice?
Oh, wouldn't it be nice? You know that advert by Cadbury? Interest. Okay, I just mentioned a name. Sorry about that. And then term. So we'll just put term as in time period. Ne? All right. So interest monthly would be I over 12.
Mm-hmm.
Quarterly would be I over 4. Half yearly or semi-annually would be I over 2. And now the term or time period, monthly would be N times 12, where N is number of years. Ne? Quarterly, N times 4 quarters in a year. And half yearly would be N times 2 halves in a year. All right. So, okay. Let's do an activity for 3 marks. For 3 marks. For 3 marks, we will calculate the following. Ne? We invest 1,700. Ne? The interest rate is 10% per annum compounded quarterly.
Wait, Mr. P, before we jump into that, there's semi-annually and there's annually. What's the difference there?
So that's a good question. Eh? Semi-annually would mean half of the year. So like semicircle is a half a circle.
Yes, and semi-annual is half
a year.
So the interest of a semi-annually is I divided by 2.
Yes. So there's 2 halves in a year.
So if they say the interest of annually, what would it be?
If it's just interest annually, then because there's 1 year in 1 year, it's just I over 1. Yeah. Which is the original compound formula anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if they just say it's a compound interest of 10%, boom. You just assume compound interest of 10% annually, and it's not compounded any other time within the year.
Yeah.
Then it's just compounded yearly.
It was a trick question when last week on Wednesday, it had the whole class fried.
Okay, we'll talk about that. Let's finish this one. Eh?
Okay.
So 10% per annum compounded quarterly. Now, we must find investment amount after 6 years. Okay. After 6 years. So we know that it's compounded quarterly. The interest rate is 10%. So let's start there. Interest rate is 0.1. So it's I divide by 4, yeah?
Yeah, I concur.
I divide by 4. And the period is number of years is 6
Times 4.
times 4 quarters in a year. Yeah? Which is 24 quarters. Ne? And then the principal amount is 1,700. So the final amount would be P1 plus I to power n, which is 1700, 1 plus 0.1 over 4 times 24. That equals how much?
3,074.83.
3,074 rands 83 cents.
Yes.
All right. So in this type of question, you would get a mark for correctly identifying what the interest rate would be. You would get another mark for correctly substituting into your formula and for the correct answer.
That's where the 3 marks take place.
Yes.
Oh.
So now you see how you can also interrogate where you lost a mark.
Yeah.
So that when you audit your answer with an educator or a marker, then you can say, oh, okay, but then they'll also be able to say, you know how to audit. Right, you didn't put a minus sign here. You didn't put a multiply sign here. You see. All right, so Magdalene, is that one clear?
Yeah.
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 All right. Thank you for that. The next one is 5 marks. Ne? It's 5 marks. It's not marks. It's marks.
That you killed me.
5 marks.
She just had 5 marks and was like, you know what? You?
So for 5 marks, we must calculate. Ne?
He didn't give us the info. Oh, this is the information.
So 25,000 is invested.
That looks like a meal.
Yo. I've seen a mail before. So it's invested into a savings account, right? Then we must first find, after 5 years, so find the final amount after 5 years if Let me just erase this now. In the first instance, the interest rate is 11% compounded monthly. And in the second case, if it's 11% but it's compounded semi-annually.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So let's start with the first one. And the interest rate is 11%, so it's 0.11 divided by 12. The number of years is 5. So the term, the whole period will be 5 by 12, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Which is 60 months. And the principal amount is 25,000. Then A would be P1 plus I to power N, 25,000, 1 plus 0.11 over 12 to power 60. And I'm just going to go ahead and write the same for the second scenario. And then this would be 25,000. A is P into 1 plus I to power N plus 25,000, 1 plus 0.11 over 2 to power 10. Therefore, A equals, and then we're going to calculate and see what the differences are. All right, so we'll have 0.11 divided by 12 plus 1 to power 60 multiply by 25,000.
Some things are just cool.
43,222 rands 89 cents. And in the other scenario, it's 0.11 divided by 2 plus 1 to the power 10 multiplied by 25,000. And we get 42,703 rands and 61 cents. Okay. So you see now where we do the divide by 12 times 12, etc.
Yes.
If we're given that the compound interest is compounded monthly, annually.
Wait, the months are 5.
The number of years are 5.
The number of years are 5.
And the number of terms in the half year period, or the number of half years in a year are 2.
Oh.
So over 5 years you get 10 half year periods.
I saw my flaw.
So 10 half year periods. I'm glad you're noticing your mistake. Magdalene, when are you getting the same? Oh, let's just switch to her screen. You're getting the same as well?
Yeah, both.
All right, well done. So Marawai in the second part, n equals 5 times 2, which is 10 half-year periods. Okay. and then in the other one, it's 5 times 12, which is 60 months. So 5 years is 60 months.
Yes.
All right. So, in other words, the better option would be if the calculation is done compounded monthly instead of compounded semi-annually. So, in other words, this is good knowledge to have, because when you start having, let's say utlaganale chelter raf or yam dende or something, you know, just an amount, lump sum, like you know, on a top or so, you know, or chelter someone who fanji benefit, someone who for donate, right? It's again.
I don't have money, but
Swara 20,000. When I go banking, ne, I haven't donated. Can I go invest? All right, you must ask your banker or to invest that money about the banking product, so that our watch, okay, interest rate and it's compounded. Okay, compounded. How often? Is it monthly? Is it weekly? Is it semi-annual? You must ask those things. You must ask, ne? So that you know. And then you go back to your high school maths, ne? And then you calculate.
In your little corner.
You calculate. You're like, all right, I'm coming on Monday, and I'll give you an answer which product I like the most, so that you make an informed choice. You see, you make an informed choice. And then you get the most for your man. Alright?
But then wait, we didn't speak about one thing. If they say weekly.
That's a good question. How many weeks are there in a month? In a year? In a year.
Okay.
How many weeks are there in a year?
In a month there are 4 weeks. So 4 times 12 months equals 48 weeks.
It's actually 52, because some months are longer, some months are shorter.
I'm confused.
It's not as straightforward. It's actually, we've got roughly 4.2 to 4.3 weeks a month, if you average it out over the 12-month period.
Oh.
If we had a 13-month year, maybe we would have every month 28 days long and 4 weeks square on every month. But we have 12, because we're using the Gregorian calendar, we have 12 months, and each and the number of weeks differs per month depending on what's happening, or rather depending on the month. So number of weeks a year, right? So we're using the Gregorian calendar, so 52.17 weeks, right?
1/8. I rounded it off.
Oh, well done for spotting that. 1/8 weeks per year, right? So the question is, what happens if compounded weekly? Then the same method applies. So if they say over a 2-year period, the annual interest rate is compounded weekly, oh, it'd be so nice to have a finance product like that where your interest compounds weekly. That'd be so nice. And the interest rate is good. But the point is, if we had 5 years, for example, it's 52.18 times 5. So it'd be roughly 200 something weeks. So let's say 5 years would be
260.
260.89 weeks. And that's what you're going to put there in the place of n. And then the interest rate would be 0.11 divided by 52 yelani.
Okay, so if they say, let's say this question that we were doing right now, and instead of compounded monthly, they say compounded weekly.
Yes, then the interest rate would be done like that. Because remember, we divided by how many times that period occurs within a year.
Aye.
You get it?
I get it. It's just that, hey, yeah, fisher.
Yeah, it's hot, isn't it?
Ish. Hot, mate.
It's hot, isn't it? All right. So, other questions, Magdalene? Have you got questions? You are sharp. Oh, okay. Yes. Let's look at Siama's problem quickly in the next 5 minutes.
You should gauge that information down so Magdalene can see.
Okay, cool. So a printing press, so it's a device, has a cost, right?
Mm-hmm.
It initially cost 850,000 rands, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's expected to drop at a rate of,
Think we jumped too far?
okay, I think we jumped too far because this here is about depreciation, so that's decay. Yeah, so we are yet to do that. We are yet to do that. And I would love to engage you on this one.
I have an idea.
What's your idea?
How about tomorrow you still continue with Magdalene?
On the same thing, and then I record it and I publish it on YouTube.
Yes, and then I'll watch it and catch up. Then on Monday, the first problem we solve is this one, then jump straight to analytic.
Okay, we'll do that. We'll do that. Yeah, so, Kasani Magdalene, we agree. We're going to carry on with this discussion. All right.
Remember,
All right.
I'll be watching you.
Yes. Oh, man. But yeah, today's class was fire. Thank you guys so much for showing up and participating so actively and enthusiastically. I shall see you tomorrow on Saturday. Magdalene, are you coming, Gasan?
Yes.
Wonderful. All right.